Hi, I'm Robin Cartwright. I'm your intuitive career coach today, giving you a message about talking with your boss or senior management. This video is all about the hard talk, having that hard conversation. So we're going to dive right into this morning, but when you get a minute, please subscribe, because if you subscribe, then I know that you guys are liking these videos and I'll make more. But if you don't, then I really have no idea if this is working out. So again, subscribe down below and we'll continue this YouTube channel. So having the hard talk. Okay, moving into these conversations with your boss or senior manager is not easy. It's scary, and we as individuals come across a lot of fear when it comes to having the hard talk and having the hard conversations. It's a huge gap in business because nobody really wants to have those difficult discussions, and nobody wants to do it on either end. Your boss doesn't want to have this with you. You don't want to have this with you. But in order for us to move forward in life, we have to have these conversations. I mean, come on. Like, you want to have difficult conversations with your partner or friends? Nobody wants to do this. And you don't want to do it in your situation at work either. But sometimes we have to have these hard conversations. So maybe you're talking about the fact that you want to understand your performance and why your job isn't being elevated to the next level. Maybe you're talking about the fact that you want to understand a little bit more about your performance, or maybe it's just discussing a difficult situation at work, or the fact that you need to leave early so that you can get to your kid's soccer game or pick them up from daycare. I don't know what it is, but sometimes having hard conversations, we do have to have, and they're not easy. They are not easy. It brings us up a lot of fear of rejection, fear of concern. I remember a time that I actually had to go up and tell my boss that I had screwed up. Yep, I made a massive mistake, and I was so afraid to do it because I thought, oh, he's going to reject me. He's going to kick me out. I'm going to be fired. This is awful. And I went up to him and I explained the situation, explained what happened. And shockingly, he was very calm. And he said to me, okay, well, thanks for bringing this to my attention. What are you going to do to fix it? I wasn't ready for that. I didn't have an answer. So if you're going to go into your supervisor or your boss with a problem, it's probably a good idea to have an answer. It's never a good idea just to go into your boss and say, hey, this is what happened. You figure it out. That doesn't bode well. So go into your boss with, here's the problem, and here's my idea of a solution. What do you think? When my boss said, okay, what are you going to do to fix it? I said, oh, all right. And I quickly thought of an answer and I told him, and he said, then go do it. Okay. I went and did it. There was another time I had to go into my boss's office and talk about my performance because I didn't understand why I felt I should elevate myself to the next level. And there wasn't anything happening. Everybody all around me was getting all the promotions and I wasn't. So I had to have that conversation with my boss. And I went in and I talked to her and I told her, this is what I want. This is where I want to aspire to. And I had to sit and listen to what she had to say. And no, not easy. It is not easy to hear that you have this A, B, and C that you need to fix before we move you to the next level. It's also hard to hear sometimes that there isn't that position in the company. We can't just create it out of whim. We have to make sure that we have these things in place first. So one of the things was I didn't have enough supervisory experience. And I said, well, how am I supposed to get it when I have no one to supervise? And her answer was, let's fix that. Let's find somebody for you to mentor or grow. And we had a coordinator in the office, and they had that coordinator dotted line to me so that I could supervise, grow, and mentor. So it's things like that. If you have these conversations with your boss and your boss is saying, well, I don't know what to do for you, there isn't the position there, then great. There's no position in that company for you to move to at that level, but this is the job you're in right now. So what are you going to do? Well, you can suggest that maybe you mentor somebody or come and think of things outside the box. Get creative with your answer of how you might be able to solve this problem. What is the problem? Problem is you need to gain more experience. How do you do that? Think of different ways. Think outside the box. We tend to stay in our little boxes and we don't get anywhere. So you really have to think about outside the box. Journal. Sit down one night and just start journaling ideas of how you can get out of the box. There was another time in my career where I really needed to talk to my boss because I needed to make sure that I left at a certain time to be able to pick up my son from school. And I was perfectly fine with everybody else getting the promotions because of the fact that I needed to be at my son's school at a certain time. I could not put in the overtime that was needed for the job, and that was okay with me. But I was nervous to go in and talk to him and tell him I need to leave at 4:30 to make sure I get to the daycare by 5:15 to pick him up. I didn't want to be the last one there. Kids hate it when they're the last one there. So I had that conversation and he said, fine. He said, just go ahead and adjust it. Make sure that you get your job done and make sure you adjust your hours. And I'm perfectly fine with it. I was blown away because I thought, oh, he's going to hate me for doing this. And he really wasn't. He was very comforting. He was understanding. I loved it. So here's what you need to do. Number one, put yourself at ease. Take a deep breath. Understand that this is hard on you. It's hard on your manager. They're just hard. Get over that fear and jump in. Make the appointment. If you run into your manager in the hall, just talk to him. Sometimes doing things on a whim is easier because you are ready to roll and you just have to go with it. Other times we want to plan it out. We want to prepare it. And maybe the conversation you need to have is one that you need to prepare. You need to have the results and the answers to the questions. Think about what questions your manager might ask you when you bring up this topic, whatever it be. So make sure that you get over that fear, jump in. Either jump in by making the appointment or grabbing your manager in the hallway and saying, hey, do you have time today for a 20-minute conversation? I really want to talk to you about something. The second one is bring the authentic you to the conversation. We don't need blame going on. Oh, so-and-so does this and so does that. And why can't I be this way? No. This is about you. So bring what you've done to the conversation, bring your authentic you to the conversation, bring your skills to the conversation. This isn't about anybody else. This is about you, and keep it there. Don't keep it on other people. Don't play the blame game. Don't do the jealousy. Just keep it on you, because you're the one having this conversation. You're the one that wants to aspire to the next level. You're the one that has the problem that you need to talk about. Nobody else. This is about the authentic you. And then the third thing I'm going to give you today is learning how to walk the walk. You can't go into these conversations and get your fears up and go in with the authentic you and then not be able to listen to what your manager has to say. If your manager says, well, you need to do A, B, and C in order to get to that point, or here's some areas you need to work on, then work on them. Think about it. Listen to what they have to say. The hardest thing in life is listening to criticism. But if we don't listen and we don't follow and we don't work on it, we're not going to get any better. We'll just stay the plateau, status quo. And that's not what you want because you're having this conversation. So listen to what your manager has to say. If you disagree with it, leave the conversation and come back to it. Or if you feel comfortable right then and there, say, I disagree because I did A, B, and C. So how is that not working? I remember I went to my manager one time in my career and I said, I want to aspire to this level. I want to be there. How can I get there? And he said, well, first off, we don't have that position in the company. And second off, I feel that if you want to be at that position in the company, you need to become it. You need to go get a job description bring it to me. Let's go over the job description. Let's talk about what it is that you want to do. You need to get some more leadership experience. And I thought at the time leadership meant supervisory. Leadership does not mean supervisory. They're two different things, folks. So if he's telling me you need to be more of a leader, that meant being more involved, being shown up in the company. I needed to step up. I needed to do more things so leadership saw me. Nobody saw me. I was this meek little person. I didn't do anything. And that wasn't where I wanted to be. I needed to aspire to more. So I listened to everything he had to say. I went and did the work. I Googled how to be a leader. I figured it out. I watched YouTube videos. I figured it out. I even took a class online on leadership, and I became that person. And I did get that promotion. It took a while, but I got there. So those are my 3 tips for you today. 1, don't beat around the bush. Go and do it. Set the appointment. Make it happen. Just get over your fears. 2, bring the authentic you to the conversation. If you can't do that, you're not going to get anywhere. And 3, you need to learn to walk the walk. Listen to what they have to say, understand it, take the critiques. When a child falls down, when they're learning how to walk and they fall down and they get back up, right? When I was an ice skating instructor, we used to make people fall down. Why? Because we wanted them to learn how to get back up. You need to do the same thing. You need to fall down and get back up. You need to listen to what your manager has to say. You need to understand it. And if you disagree with it, think about why you disagree with it. Sometimes stepping out of the conversation and thinking about it some more helps, and then bringing it back to the table. So those are my 3 tips for you for the hard talk. I'm hoping that this works for you. Again, subscribe so I know that you want more videos, and stay tuned if you'd like to know more about me. I'm at hiddengemscoaching.co. I'm looking forward to chatting with you. And yes, you deserve to shine in your career.